I used to take pride in my security routine. Extra deadbolts, motion lights, and even a guard dog. I thought I was invincible. Until that night. It wasn't a common burglar who broke in. It was someone who knew exactly where to look. Someone who had waited patiently for the right moment to show me that my home, my sanctuary, was just as vulnerable as I was. This happened to me in November of 2023, and ever since, every noise in the dead of night freezes me in place. I'm a freelance IT consultant. I've been working from home for over 10 years. The pandemic only reinforced the need for security. I live alone in a house with a backyard on a residential street near a quiet park. I installed a full alarm system in 2020, sensors on every window and door, outdoor cameras with night vision, and a motion sensor in the master bedroom. My routine was rigid. Check the alarm at 10 p.m., lock the back door, the only one with direct access from the yard, with an extra deadbolt, and make sure the porch light was on, programmed to turn off at 5 a.m. I never had an incident, not even a car break-in on the street. I felt safe. The only slightly unusual things in the days leading up to the event were a series of suspicious package deliveries left on my doorstep when I hadn't ordered anything. Small objects, like a matte black lighter, a metal keychain with no markings, a single gray cotton sock. Things I quickly dismissed, assuming it was a sender's mistake or something similar, and threw away without a second thought. It was absurd to imagine that these insignificant items were the prelude to something so terrifying. It all started subtly, almost imperceptibly, the kind of thing you rationalize in seconds. On Tuesday, November 14th, I noticed something strange when I woke up. The porch light, programmed to automatically turn off at 5 a.m., stayed on until 6 a.m. I thought it was a momentary glitch in the digital timer I'd installed. I reset the cycle and paid it no more mind. On Wednesday, the 15th, around 3:17 in the morning, the back door sensor alarm went off. I shot out of bed, my heart already anticipating a problem. I checked the security system app on my phone. Nothing on the external cameras, no activity detected by the indoor motion sensors. The only indication was back door intrusion, sensor activated. With my phone's flashlight in hand, I disarmed the alarm and went to check myself. The door was locked, the extra deadbolt I installed over the original latch was intact, the internal lock firm. Nothing out of place, no sign of a break-in. The only thing unusual was a faint but distinct smell of damp earth coming from outside, even though it hadn't rained in the last 48 hours. In the early hours of Thursday, November 16th, the dread truly began to set in. It was 2:58 a.m. when the alarm went off again, the same sensor, the same back door. This time, however, the external cameras caught something. A slender, completely hooded figure moving with an unnatural agility through the darkness of the backyard, skillfully avoiding the beams of the motion lights as if it knew the blind spots of my security system. The silhouette vanished before I could register any details, but the feeling was clear. This was not a common thief looking for an opportunity. It felt like someone who knew exactly where they were, someone who had studied my house, my schedule, my weak points. A chill ran down my spine. It felt like this person wasn't just trying to get in, but showing me they already knew me. It was Friday, November 17th, and the accumulated tension left me exhausted. I tried to convince myself it was all just a strange coincidence, that the alarm had malfunctioned, that the cameras were glitching. I decided that, to be sure, I would stay up all night, monitoring everything. At 3:07 a.m., the alarm sounded. Again. The same sensor. The same spot. My heart pounded. But this time, it wasn't just fear. It was a cold fury. I grabbed my phone, opened the camera app, and saw it. The figure was there, closer, at the back door itself. This time, there was no more disguised agility. It was a menacing, patient presence. The silhouette began to force the door. The metal groaned, the sensors emitting a sharp, constant warning tone. I was paralyzed, not by fear, but by a shocking disbelief. Through the small gap in the living room window curtain, the faint street light illuminated the scene. The figure wasn't tall or muscular, but its movements were deliberate. I could see the hands now, gloved, testing the extra deadbolt. Then the door gave way with a brutal crack. The figure entered. It didn't run, didn't shout. It walked, slowly, toward the living room. I backed away, stumbling over my own feet, my body in absolute shock. My mind, once focused on systems and logic, was now processing pure survival instinct. I grabbed the closest thing, a heavy metal lamp. The figure entered the living room. The dim light fell on the hood. I couldn't see a face, but I could see something glinting. In its right hand, the figure held my own kitchen knife, the one with the wooden handle I used to chop vegetables, the one that was kept in the drawer, visible only to me. How did it know where it was? How? The air grew heavy, thick with a smell I now recognized. Damp earth, mixed with something metallic, almost like blood. The figure stopped a few feet from me. It took a step forward. The knife, which once seemed like just a tool, was now a threatening extension of its purpose. The voice, whispered but clear, echoed in my throat. "You shouldn't have locked the door." And then the figure raised the knife, and I felt a sharp, searing pain in my left arm, as if something had been driven into it with force. It was my own keychain, the one I had received weeks before, attached to the knife's handle, a macabre reminder that my end had been planned. The pain made me drop the lamp. The instinct to flee, late and desperate, took over. With my vision blurred by adrenaline and dripping blood, I opened the living room door and ran for the front door, my only visible exit. I tripped on the rug, almost fell, but the sound of the figure moving behind me spurred me on. I turned the key, threw open the door, and hurled myself onto the cold street. I ran aimlessly, without thinking, just running away. The morning light was beginning to brighten the sky when I reached a busier street, breathless, my shirt soaked in blood. A driver on his way to work stopped, startled, and took me to the nearest hospital. At the police station, I told them everything. I was met with skepticism. "You sure this was a break-in, not just a common robbery?" the detective asked, his face tired. I showed him the knife I had kept, the keychain still attached to the handle. "This could have been planted," he replied, not looking me in the eye. The hospital confirmed the wound on my arm, a deep laceration, as if something sharp and heavy had been driven into it. But with no fingerprints, with the intruder not captured, the investigation was quickly closed as vandalism with attempted burglary. Searching online, I found other similar accounts in the region, discussed in obscure forums. Mysterious packages delivered, lights that stayed on, alarm sensors tripping for no apparent reason, always followed by a disturbing visit. No attacker caught, no resolution. People just moved, left town, or simply lived with the fear. Since that night, my house has become a prison. I've installed more locks, vibration sensors on the walls, even a listening device on the door. I sleep with a tactical flashlight and my phone beside me. Any strange noise makes me jump out of bed. I don't use the back door anymore, not even the one in the living room. The porch light only comes on when I'm there. On my computer, in an encrypted folder, are the security camera photos from that night, the image of my keychain on the knife, and links to dozens of other accounts I found online, all with the same disturbing details. I have never felt truly safe again. The feeling of being watched has never left me. Yesterday, while picking up a delivery from my doorstep, I found a small package. Inside, there was just a matte black lighter. It wasn't a reminder. It was a warning.